Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys why you should definitely get yourself a PSP in 2023. The PSP was released in 2004 and then discontinued in 2014. Over that time, they sold over 82 million copies of the console and made over 2,400 games. The PSP was ahead of its times in terms of graphical quality, performance, and an extensive library of games. It was one of the best handhelds ever created and still hold a place in many gamers' hearts. Sony wanted to create a game console in the palm of your hand, and that was the PSP. The performance of a console in the palm of your hands. So 20 years later, why should you get yourself a PSP? So the first reason why I suggest that you get a PSP is because it's very cheap. You can get one of these guys on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, Mercari for relatively cheap. You can get it for less than $100. Now this particular one is the PSP 1000. This is the first generation of the PSP. You know this because of its bulky nature. It's different from the 2000 and the 1000. In my opinion, this is the best one to get if you're looking to mod your PSP. I'm gonna go further into that in later on in the video. So if you want to know why I suggest that you get the PSP 1000 instead of the 3000, then continue to watch the video. The PSP was made to use the UMD drive, which is a little CD case tray right here, which you put the CDs in, click it down, and you play the game. However, that is not ideal in today's world because we don't really have anywhere to buy the UMD drives. But because of mods and hacks, the game console can play without the UMD drive. And that leads me to my second reason why you should definitely get one of these in 2023. It's moddable. It's the easiest console to mod. All you need to do is go to the internet, download two files, add them to your game, and then run them. And once you run them, you have fully modded your game. Now, once you've installed custom firmware on this, you can do a whole host of different things. For example, you can see that I have a custom theme right here, and then you can also have homebrew, you can run emulators, and importantly, you can have access to 2,400 different PSP games, which is crazy. Not only PSP games, you can also have access to PS1 games. So if there's a PS1 game that you want to run, you can literally put it on your PSP and you will be able to, play it. So if I go ahead and go into my storage or my the games that I currently have on the system, let me go over to the location, which is right here. Let me boot up my little section here. It's loading. I have a ton of games. So these are some of the PSP games that I currently have on my system. You can see that I have a ton of them. And if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see that I also have PS1 games. That is Resident Evil 3, Nemesis. This is Diablo. This is Mortal Kombat 3. And all of these are playable PlayStation 1 games on your PSP. So as I mentioned before, the PSP can also use emulators. If I scroll up, you can see that I have a Nintendo 64 emulator right here, and I also have a GBA emulator. Now these are my two favorite ones on the system. You have different ones that you can try out. So the other emulators that you can use on your PSP are Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Atari, and the GBC. But again, these are my favorite on the PSP, which is the GBA and the Nintendo 64. So if I go into my GBA emulator, again, this is a custom theme. As you can see, it's pretty cool. There's a video playing when I'm booting up my game. If I go into my GBA emulator, you can see that I have a ton of different ROMs. To be honest, I think I have over 160 different GBA ROMs on my PSP. So if, for example, if I wanted to play like a Pokemon, I am going to be booting up Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. All I need to do is press O and it's going to load up the game. We're going to select English. As you can see, we are now playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on our PSP. So that is pretty cool. All we need to do is press home. Then we're going to press Exit the GBA, and we're back on our PSP main screen. So as I mentioned before, I suggest that you get the PSP 1000 instead of the 3000 or the 2000. And that is because you can literally get a modded screen for the PSP 1000. So you can replace the entire screen to put in a prettier and more beautiful IPS panel screen, which would give you a better overall experience when you're using your PSP. So the PSP has come a long way over the last 20 years, and mods and hacks have increased the capability of the PSP, allowing it to do a lot more than it was previously able to do.